Look closely at a chimpanzee. On an individual level, the similarities to humans are striking. They form friendships, care for their young, and compete for status using high social intelligence. One-on-one, a chimp can easily match or exceed the cognitive abilities of a human. But if you put 5,000 chimpanzees in the UN General Assembly, the result is chaos. Humans, however, gather in these numbers every day, coordinating global policies and trade networks. A chimpanzee troop naturally splits apart once it reaches about 50 members. Humans organize in the millions. This gap exists despite the fact that many animals have effective languages. A green monkey can use a specific call to warn its troop that an eagle is circling above, or that a lion is approaching through the grass. But that communication is strictly limited. A monkey cannot describe a lion she saw near the river yesterday, nor can she suggest a plan to avoid that river in the future. Animal cooperation is limited by the physical present. Because they can only discuss what they can see or hear in the immediate moment, their groups can only grow as large as their literal line of sight allows. Around 70 millennia ago, sapiens' cognition shifted, allowing them to transmit information with a density that other species could not match. Humans could suddenly describe the exact location of a bison herd and the specific paths leading to it. While tracking animals provided food, survival within the band required mapping a more complex environment, the social landscape. To maintain a stable group, sapiens needed to know who was honest, who was a freeloader, and who could be trusted with a shared task. This is the evolutionary basis of gossip theory. For most primates, trust requires hours of direct physical grooming. Gossip allowed sapiens to establish reputations and build alliances without constant physical contact. Reliable social information allowed isolated bands to merge. By knowing who could be trusted before meeting them, sapiens could form tighter, more sophisticated cooperative units. Gossip functions as the mechanism for indirect trust. It provided the social data necessary for sapiens to expand their groups well beyond the limits of a single troop. Even the most efficient gossip network has a limit. Sociological research identifies a ceiling for groups bonded by personal acquaintance at approximately 150 individuals. There's a limit to the relationships a brain can track. Up to 150 people, we remember everyone standing. The network is stable. Exceed this, and order destabilizes. Acquaintance can't maintain trust, and the group splinters into two separate bands. This threshold remains visible in modern organizations. A military platoon or a small family business can function on the basis of intimate relationships and rumor. They don't need formal law books or heavy bureaucracy to keep order until they cross that 150-person line. This 150-person limit is a biological constraint. To conquer the globe, humans had to find a workaround that allowed them to cooperate with complete strangers, far beyond their immediate social circle. Sapiens bypassed this biological limit by using language to discuss things that do not exist at all in the physical world. Two strangers can work together if they both believe in the same shared myth. Concepts like gods, national borders, or limited liability companies create an immediate bridge of trust between people who have never met. Ancient empires were the first to use this mechanism at scale. By believing in a shared legal code, like the Code of Hammurabi, hundreds of thousands of strangers could coordinate their labor and behavior across vast territories. Modern nations function using the same linguistic mechanism. The United States exists because millions of strangers collectively believe in the foundational myths written on the Declaration of Independence. The nation is a shared reality that lives in our collective imagination. Human language turned from a tool for describing the physical world into an engine for inventing a shared one. It made cooperation scalable across thousands and eventually millions of individuals. While an animal troop is limited by its physical senses, a human collective is limited only by its imagination. This is why thousands of strangers can gather in a single square, acting toward a common goal. Our dominance over the planet is not a result of individual strength. It is the result of our ability to create scalable networks of shared fiction. This is why sapiens dictate the fate of the world, while other apes remain confined to shrinking habitats. Human language allowed us to bypass biological constraints and organize on a global scale. It is the reason we are the architects of the planet. For most of our history, we used these myths to roam the earth as foragers. But everything changed when these massive networks of humans decided to settle down and tether themselves to the land. That transition is where we go next.